This is a pitch for a game that me and a couple friends wanted to make. We had our inspiration from a Minecraft Realm server that we actually ran, which we are still in the midst of working on with a bunch of command blocks. So, I'm going to show you some bits and pieces of my game design document. Well, here we're deciding to name it the Celestial War. Also, Jonathan Petrucci and Evan Hughes are the other people that are helping me making in the making. Um, Johnny did all the art that you see on this form. So, right here we have the Capitol building for the seat of light. Down here we have the Capitol building for the seat of evil, which would be underground. Um, the genre, it's going to be an indie since it's being made outside of an actual company. And it's going to be an MMORPG. The platform is a PC. The story being that two seeds were planted a very, very long time ago. The seed of light that took root upon the highest peak it could find brought about the good of the world. And then there was the seed of darkness, which was the seed of evil. It took its root inside the deepest chasms of the earth, basically in caves. Um, brought forth the night. It brought forth the night and evil that lives in this world. As the seeds germinated, as they grew, and their influences grew, the surface world was blanketed by, well, lush greenery and life, while the chasms were wrought with creatures of destruction and minerals that came from their corpses. They so the seed of evil, they needed food. That was the only thing that kept them from surviving for so long. But also the seed of light needs minerals. So within time, a war had broke out. Within the war, the seeds felt the need to have a protector, a champion. So the seeds made their own respective champions. The seed of light being the sun bearer, and the seed of evil being what's known as the skullcorn. The wrath, and the skullcorn is a creature so devastating in its wrath that the seed of light was forced to actually birth its own creature, being that sun bearer. Over time, the war kept going. They fought for territory, for resources. And eventually, over time, the seeds found a way to make their champions grow stronger, along with all the other people that were on their sides, which we'll get into that in a second. So after reaching a certain threshold, the characters can evolve from, they have one state and it goes into a more powerful state. So But by doing it, they were also starting to lose power and started to die. But all of our records of the war that happened after this are unknown at this time. So, now comes the characters. So, there's going to be different stages in there. So, the player is going to gain the option to... The character is going to gain the option to choose a side. Like, do they want to fight for the evil side, or do they want to fight for the good side? Giving them more of a range rather than forcing them to stay in one spot. Like, fight for the good or just fight for the evil. This way they get the option, they can vary their options. And then after selecting, they're going to have different races to choose from. So, the races on the Seat of Light that you can select from is the Sunbearer themselves, what's known as a Void Walker, a Golem, a Guardian, or a Good Spirit. And then on the evil side, we got the Skullcorn, the Decayed, Dark Spirit, Skeleton, and Werewolf. Now, remember earlier how I said that they can actually evolve to be something stronger. So, like I said, after they reach their own threshold, like a certain threshold, the Sunbearer will become a Celestial Bearer. The Void Walker will become a Void Dragon. The Good Spirit becomes a Holy Spirit. Guardian becomes Elder Guardian. And the Golem becomes a Mech. And then the same goes for the other side. On the evil side, the Skullcorn can turn into the Primal Skullcorn. The Decayed becomes the Withered. The Dark Spirit becomes a Lemure. Skeleton. Now, the Skeleton, they are interesting. We couldn't think of a way to upgrade them. So what we decided on, okay, maybe there's like two different paths. They could choose between becoming like a poison skeleton, which will shoot like poison tipped arrows, or a freezing skeleton, which whoever they hit gets slowed. And then the werewolf becomes an alpha werewolf. The thresholds are to be determined at this time, but there will be the thresholds. We're hoping that this game is going to be played by anyone like in their teens and up. And just because of the fact that they can shoot or fight each other, and then also the opportunity to choose the side that they want, will make it enjoyable. So user interface, there's going to be the natural health bar, stamina bar. Then, just so that way people can actually remember what controls they need to use, there will be ability control binds right on the side of the screen. There will be a mini-map, quest, and then, like, for a tutorial type base, like, if you want instructions to be able to play, there will be a quest tracker. And also there will be an option that you could adjust your keybinds to make your game experience more comfortable. So it's not really levels, but the environment. So in the environment, there's like there's gonna be like little cities or towns or villages around the world. There's some above ground and some below. So the ones above ground will have will have mines, but not with that many good minerals. So there's going to be like little bits of iron, but there's going to be a lot of copper and coal. But they have farmland. So the farmland, any type of food that you can grow agriculturally. But below ground, they have no farmland because there's no sun to reach them. So, but they do have a lot more enriched mines with little traces of diamond, little traces of gold, a lot more iron, less coal and less copper though. And because of the different resources available, it gives the player a reason to enter the enemy territory rather than just stay hiding above ground it where it makes them stronger. But for the game to advance, you need to enter enemy territory. So we gave them a reason. You want better minerals? Go down to the if you're on the Seed of Light side and you want better minerals, go down. Go down to enemy territory, capture an underground village, city, town, and that way you actually gain more minerals. As long as your team has control of the control point, you can start taking stuff from that city. While the Seed of Evil, to give them a reason to go above ground rather than staying down underground where they're a lot stronger, they need food. Because how else are they going to survive? And then the players, what we're debating on is having in the capitals a spot where they will be, where they're like having in a vault the materials needed for the enemy team to evolve some of their characters. So like in the Seed of Darkness capital, there will be the stuff for like the Void Walker. There will be stuff for the Sunbearer, Golem, Guardian, or Good Spirit. While the for the in the Seed of Light capital, we'll have the stuff for the opposite team. So after selecting your character and getting through the rest of the story, the gameplay is all depending on what the player chooses. The player can choose either to defend their capital from this, like they could defend their capital from the opposite team. They could perform recon. They can claim towns for their side, or attack the other team capital. This is an ongoing war between good and evil. As the player goes out on recon or goes out to claim towns or villages, they are bound to come across either enemies or allies. Once a town is captured or claimed, the captor's side's banner is placed throughout the town, and they will gain access to their resources. The teams can capture other towns that have already been captured. And now for just a couple of things of concept art, I asked for Johnny to throw together. So we got the Sunbearer. Then we got the Skullcorn. Voidwalker, which is bound to change slightly. And then we got the Decayed. That is basically it for this. But like I wanted to just say, huge thanks to Jonathan and Evan. Evan for the story, and then Johnny for the art. Huge thanks. Peace.